Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara, founder of Monivan Digital Marketing Solutions, where we help businesses navigate the digital landscape. I am so excited to be here at Your Business in Digital, where we really work with businesses to help them translate what they do offline really, really well into digital and make sure that they can achieve that money in the bank, right? Get to that place of how do you leverage digital to really get to money in the bank. So that's what we do here at Your Business in Digital. Lucky for me, I am always here with these amazing subject matter experts. And what we've done at Your Businesses in Digital is really pull together the right team, the perfect team, right? We have someone from finance, we have someone from sales and pricing, as well as operations, and of course, marketing. So we could really pull the whole picture together, right? That full scope of how a business is supposed to function, and then take that and make sure that it translates well into digital to keep all of these people happy. And that's a tough job. But anyway, I am going to allow them to introduce themselves, and then we will start talking about whatever we're talking about today. I'm a little nervous, but we'll do it. Nerves. Go for it, Andrea.
Good morning, everyone. I am Andrea Ragoo, and I am your virtual CFO. I am the voice of your money, and with my help, I help you make better financial decisions for your business. I help you take your business from a liability to an asset so that your business becomes a blessing and not a burden. Welcome to the show.
I'm sorry, I'm all discombobulated. Hello, good afternoon. I get to say good afternoon for once. Hi, I am Michele Gordon with Lanyap Digital Consulting. I am your sales and pricing pain reliever. With Lanyap, we are here to help you to find your little something extra, that thing that sets you apart from the pack, to be consistent and sustainable with your pricing and sales strategy. So hello, all from Barcelona. I'm excited to be with y'all today. Thank you.
And good morning, I'm Michael Wiltshire, Director of Business Development and Sales at Monivan Digital. We're always here to help you navigate that ever-changing digital landscape. Make sure you're driving revenue for your business and measuring the impacts of your efforts.
All right, so many places to unmute. So, oh man, today is going to be exciting. And just to let everyone know, right, we're broadcasting across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're on Clubhouse, right? So this is really a internet national show. And we are looking to build in other places. So if you want to see us, please feel free to join us on one of those other platforms. If you just want to listen to us, that's fine. You can hang out with us in Clubhouse. So today is exciting because we are talking about a project that at Monivan Digital we've been working on for a while. We've been working on an additional revenue stream, and we've been working on a jewelry site. So just to kind of give a little bit of a history, why jewelry, why e-commerce jewelry? Well, back in the day, while I think after I went to college, got a job, quit my job, and then went back to school. I sold jewelry. I sold sterling silver because one of my best friends is actually her mom owns a business, and they kind of do all the stuff, and they get you the sterling silver, and you know what I mean? I would buy it wholesale, and then I would sell it. And that was one of the ways I sustained myself while life was happening. And so it was something that, women always bought. It was good quality. I have pieces for a long time. The pieces I wear right now are from there. So I was just like, hey, we kind of need to lean back into this, but really make it e-commerce. And then we could use the site to do a few different things. We can use it to learn a little bit more about marketing products online, test out some of the strategies that we've been thinking about, and, really work it, right? Work the SEO, all the technical pieces, the website, Shopify. So we have a live case study that we can work on. And so it was all, I had all these high aspirations, and then we built it, we got it working, and now it's so emotional for me. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. I will drop the link for the store so people can check it out. I'll actually put it on the ticker. And so the name of the store is High Knickknacks, and came up with that because it was like, high-end sterling silver jewelry. Knickknacks are things that, people kind of like, oh, oh, this Nick, this Knack. So that's the name of the store. And yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. So we actually have a live working e-commerce store that is now something that, yeah, belongs to Monivan Digital. And it's a part of our goal to really build an additional revenue stream. And again, leverage all the skills that we have. So that's a little bit about the website. I'm sure you guys have some questions while I'll pull it up while you start grilling me. So go for it. I'm sure you want to ask questions. So let's go for the questions, and then we can kind of go from there, and I'll showcase the site in the meantime.
Listen to Tamara. Let me unmute in all of my places. Being all nervous today, that's a shock. Listen to you sitting on the hot seat for once. I first want to compliment you, and I know Michael has been helping out quite a bit with this. For those that are listening now, and if you can get online and take a look at the site while we're going there. One, because they've done such a great job with the site, but two, the ability when you're selling something like jewelry, that has so many different categories and is such a subjective item to purchase, your ability to make it simple for somebody to purchase, make it personable, and to make it attractive for them to see themselves wearing that jewelry is a tough task in itself without thinking through a sales strategy that goes along with it. So I think it is a huge task that you've taken on, my friend, in the midst of all the stuff that you have going on. You didn't pick something simple to launch. You picked one of the most complicated things that you could have possibly done in going to the marketplace with a product. It is a great line to sell. As you said, jewelry is a thing that women, especially, and men will want to buy for women. So you have a couple of great target audiences that you're looking at, but that was an enormous feat that you have pulled together in such an attractive, simple way with a great sales strategy that goes along with it. Now, talk to me and tell the audience about how you decided how to organize this and all of the moving parts that probably sent you to therapy as you were trying to get this stuff done. So talk, because there's a lot of front end work, but there's also a lot of automation behind the scenes. So I'm going to want Michael to speak too, but talk about just the basics of what you were thinking when you were trying to, your vision of pulling this together, how you wanted to have things placed visually, and what you were trying to get people to do when they came to the site and to do something specific.
So yeah, so sorry about that. This has been a work in progress for a long time. This has been a work in progress for, I want to say, about 3 years or so, maybe even more. Maybe about 2-3 years. So I didn't think about all those things. I approached this 100% the wrong way. I approached it like, oh, we can make an additional $5,000 a month. That's how I approached it, because we have clients, we have so many other things going on. And I was just like, all right, cool. So yeah,
But money goal is a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But what we preach.
Money goal is a good thing, but.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's absolutely a great thing. But that was really the approach. So I got very technical with it, right? I SEO'd the crap out of it. Like, I over optimized. I everything that I knew. I did it at 100. I was like, the customized, personalized, because the website is all about customized, personalized jewelry. So every piece is something that you buy and you customize for someone. So you add their name, you can add a message, you can add, a date, whatever the case may be. So it's very, very personal. So in the beginning, I was like, personalized, customized, cubic zirconians. So I was like, not let me over optimize. I went with my technical brain, and I didn't feel anything for the brands, right? I didn't have a brand story. I didn't have a blah, blah, blah. It was just like, let's get it up on Shopify and let's make it happen. so that happened, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's wrong, because I'm out here preaching consistently, right? I felt like one of those, those old preacher men who, like, they're on the show and they're preaching, and then all of a sudden you hear about their crazy sex scandal. Probably inappropriate joke, but it's just, I feel like there are so many of them. But I was out there preaching, like, you got to build a brand, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do all these things. And I went in super technical with this, and I was just like, okay, cool, pull back. So as I mentioned before, my best friend is like, she is she still works with her mom. They've been running this company for a long time. They have, their clients are like Macy's, and like, it's quality sterling silver. It's really good product, right? So they have a lot of big clients. They do jewelry shows, they do all that stuff. So her and I were talking the other day, and she was just like, you gotta romance it up. You gotta romance the store up. You gotta romance it up. And she's like, try love collection, try bestsellers, try fall favorites, holiday party. And, she's like, try just romancing it up. And so that kind of stuck with me. So that's kind of where I got to after 3 years of trying, right, to be technical. So that's how I got to a place of, okay, this is how the product placement happens, right? So now it's kind of like the love collection that makes people feel right away, hey, this is where I get something with a heart. This is where I get something that's a little bit more meaningful. So that's how that came about. The bestsellers is, here's a list of curated things that we know that sells already, right? Because, I had on a necklace, and then my niece had one, and someone saw it and was just like, hey, where do I buy that? So we know that once people see the product, they want to buy the product, right? So that's how I got to the place of those categories. And then displaying it, Shopify gives you a one look and feel when you do the basic. We're paying for Shopify, right? We pay $37 a month because we have another feature in it, but Shopify, it needed a page builder. So I leaned into a page builder and worked with someone to help build out the homepage so we could really start getting it to feel a little bit more like, all right, cool. When I land here, I know that I'm getting, what am I getting? So that's how I got to that place.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about,
let me unmute everywhere. What I immediately thought when I went to the site, and from a sales perspective, without even knowing who your target audience was, I assumed because of jewelry. But when I went in immediately, it was really funny where I said, "Oh, she's trying to attract men." Immediately, and crazily in a way, because I thought gift season. And for those that are looking, it literally says, besides women, that was the given, women, but it literally says, what's the best way to show your love? Custom jewelry made just for her in 3 easy steps. I don't know a man around that doesn't want something that simple. It's customized. It's jewelry. What women doesn't like jewelry? What women, there's a rare one out there, but it's hard to go wrong with that. And then you said, oh, only 3 easy steps? I can do that really quickly and get it done, and it's customized and personal, high-end, quality work. And I thought, when I saw it, I said it was visually appealing. The sales message was there. The branding component was there. I got it right away in the 3 visuals with the bar that went across it with the messaging. And I was like, what a great sales strategy as I went through, because that's where my brain sits immediately. And you qualified, by the way. So you gave the people the ability to self-qualify. The name of the store is High Knickknack. So you're setting the precedent of, okay, when you come in here, don't look for inexpensive. Inexpensive. You're going to come in, you're going to get quality. And those were the words that you were putting in as we went through. You do set the expectation too. You're giving, I love the way that you customize things and put in and drove their eyes to the right place. So Love Collection, the best sellers. Oh, so that know, like, and trust factor comes in there where people are buying these. Let me go to bestsellers to see what's there. Love Collection, somebody that's looking, as you said, for a bit of romance, a man looking for a gift for his spouse or his partner, something, think of those things. I immediately got it. And then across the top, it was really easy for people to navigate through in the sales strategy. What is, from the homepage, but do you want anklets? Look at the bestsellers. You qualified and you compartmentalize things and made it really easy to view. And then the visual component of it as well. What they're able to easily see the product that they're getting. You have the price points in there, in some instances are from, for them to see, and then the descriptors that overlay that I'm assuming that's the component that you're talking about, that you SEO to death on it, lives in there as well. That also helps people to answer the questions before they're asked. And I, from a sales perspective, appreciated that. Now, my question to you is, how much went into doing that? Like, how much did you have to revise that for people who are thinking about doing these things and have products to sell? That's why I want you to lean into that a bit, because the organization was important to help people to navigate through. There's a thought process that goes behind the words and what that meant to you to move that forward, you or your best friend that you work along with this, to move that forward. And what does that mean as far as the know, like, trust, and your SEO combined to get that in this space?
Oh man, way more credit than I am due. I stumbled into it stupidly. Like, head banged into all these changes. So first, Michael, I understand why, I know exactly why I keep him around. So I had the page builder done. I had the homepage of the site redone, right? It looked great. It felt great. And then Michael went to buy something for his wife, and he had a lot of questions. And I'm just like, I was like, dude, it's like, just click on the thing and click on the thing and click da, 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 da. And he's just like, so you know what I mean? And I'm just like he doesn't get it. You'll work it out. So then, I always say I have a lot of digital marketing friends, right? So you guys are familiar with Eric Davis. So I got with Eric, and Eric, I said, hey, here's the link to the site. Give me some feedback, right? Because he's like hyper critical, hyper, like, not critical. He's a digital marketer. So he's going to look at everything else that I may have missed, right? So I sent it to Eric, and right away, the first thing he does is he hits me back with like a speed test. And, I kind of knew the speed was a little bit off. So on mobile, it was like taking 9 seconds to load. He hits me back, and he's just like, yo, what is this? He's like, you have to tell them the steps on how to do it. He was just like, they get there and then they see it. And then it's like, well, what do I do next? And then he's like, you have to product placement. So merchandise, really showcase. So one of the things Mike actually said to me, right? So I'm getting Eric's feedback and I'm hearing Mike's voice. He was like, shouldn't there be like one that says like your name here on the necklace so that people know that you could put your name here, right? And here's Eric telling me, do it in 3 easy steps, right? Break it down in 3 easy steps. So that's Michael saying the same thing, right? Because if he came to the site and said your name or your loved person's name here, he would know, I get to change that name to whatever I want it to be. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I was just like, is Michael a better digital marketer than I am? But and then another issue that he ran into is that the piece that he wants to get, we're talking about 2 names. So we have an option. It's on one page where, the product has a 1 name option and a 2 name option. And we just couldn't put those together because he couldn't order for 2 names because there's a character limit for the name. And so there were, there were things that came out. And so I'm talking to Eric, and Eric gives me the report for the speed test. The site is loading. I mean, like, our results were like a 12 out of 100. And Google focuses a lot on these speed tests, right? So I was just like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize how bad it was. So I had to hire somebody who was Shopify specific to bring them in and have them get the speed of the site up, because that means I'm running Google ads as well too, right? So that means that if the site speed is slow and people get there, they'll bounce, right? 9 seconds is a long time, so that 12 had to change. So I stumbled, let me not say stumbled into it. I started doing market research.
You learned as you went.
And
There were lessons that you learned as you were going on. I think it's important, but Tamara, I'm going to go on mute on one of the police. I think this is important that you're vulnerable enough and you're revealing this to everyone, because those that are selling products, we're so attached to it, and we need your trusted advisors to come to the table and break it for you, to give it to you from their lens, to say, I couldn't do this. And then give you the feedback. And after you got out of your hurt feelings, then you come back and you're able to now say, okay, let me add my brain to it, attach what they're saying, and your learning curve improved because they brought something to you. And I think it's important, as we were given our own testimonies here and given our experience, that they know that they're, one, not in it alone, and two, not the errors of your ways, but the learnings that you had and you improved as you moved along. That I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, you also learned more about the new platform that you want in Shopify. That while it does sell itself as do-it-yourself, not necessarily with something that have so many moving parts. It might be necessary to bring in some other expert in that space to help you to move things along at the pace that you need to, and then try and test again. I would love to hear Michael's perspective, if you don't mind, while I play host and question and switch these seats up a little bit. Then I'm going to turn it over.
I just love how Michele taking over the host, and I love it.
Look, this is
Michele came out ready this morning. He came out ready.
I'm glad she's doing it, so I don't have to do it.
So let's talk. We're talking e-commerce, and I'll go right back to the beginning. So it's always been a goal of Monivan Digital to have several revenue streams, several different projects, of which High Knickknacks has been one. So from my perspective, we've been doing everything right. And what I'd highlight is what we talk about, being nimble with marketing. We're able to learn very quickly and change very quickly and see the impact every step of the way. So to Tamara's credit, she is an excellent marketer. Everything went live, traffic started to flow. What did not happen was necessarily sales starting to flow, right? And that was the scratch head for her, that was like, well, but I did it all right, and they're coming. They are coming to the door. And I was like, yeah, but they don't know us yet. We can't get away from the like trust factor, So we got back to the same those core things that we say to everyone that you need, so that even though we're able to put this into place in a very short period of time, the customer is king, right? The customer has to say when they are ready, and they will come when they are good and ready, they will buy, right? And then we went through a couple things in the site itself. So as she started to mention, I think I do have a knack for being that user tester, that common user, and yes, I can figure it out. But the point is, you don't want anybody to figure it out. You want people to just get it when they see it. And of course, last but not least, we launched this in one of the busiest times of the year, right? So we are amidst all the noise, we are amidst all the ads, all the SEO of everyone else. And I am confident that from that operational perspective, we've set up that customer service part of it, that customer delivery side of it. We've definitely looked at what changes we need to make as we go forward. We have some changes that we'd probably make next year, because you highlighted something, and we'll talk about it a little later, in terms of who the site is aimed towards, right? And on these are conversations that we have. But just to say that we did have a square goal in terms of a dollar figure, in terms of a goal. We continue to have that goal. I understand what it would take to support in terms of advertising on a monthly basis. And I think I expect to see sales very soon. And, as we cross over the year, we'll probably start to see the sales come in as we become a mainstay in terms of people's view, right? And it comes across their feed a little more often. And we're talking about the personality that we want to add to the brand as well. So that's where we are. So great marketer. Did she think that, the marketing would do it absolutely all? Yes, she did. But, sales operations was here to say, well, no, it's going exactly right. We're seeing that traffic. We even had a discussion just Friday, how to modify that traffic, modify where we were targeting. and what made sense to us, right? So very nimble, very quick, something that any business, I think, can look at if you're looking at diversifying. That's a word that, small businesses need to get into their vocabulary a little bit more. Get your stuff running, sure, put your effort into it, but as soon as you can, what's that side business or that separate business that you can do? So that's where I came in. So unmute here, Michele.
Oh, sorry about that. I want Andrea, because you said something, Michael, that's key, I think, also for, budding businesses that are putting products out there and looking for the immediate rush of sales. And then, you're putting money out there, not just to get the site up, but you're advertising as well. And then trying to set the right expectation when that money doesn't come in. I know Tamara mentioned last week when we were both, when Andrea and I were on, and then with me, and I know Chef is in the room, and how she was concerned for all of our businesses, because now we have ads out there, and she was a lot concerned on ours and wanted us to be successful. And the same for High Knickknacks. Andrea, if you don't mind stepping in and talk about the financial part of it and your thoughts on how to approach that, because that's something that sits in the back of my mind right now for Lanyap, and I know Tamara has been considering that for High Knickknacks as well right now.
Yeah, so definitely. So Michael, first of all, took the word out of my mouth. I was coming to talk about that nice word called diversifying, right? In terms of diversifying income, which we could touch on a little later. But in terms of the startup of businesses, this is where you have to prepare yourself to spend. You have to prepare yourself to spend before you even see a dollar coming in. Ideally, in a I would say a perfect scenario, you should ideally have 3 to 6 months of operational money sitting down there, and assume you get no sales, right? And assume that you don't get anybody coming through the door, because in reality that's what happens. You don't just put out a site, and as we all talk on this show, you put out the site, but then you have to drive people to the site. How do you drive people to the site? You drive people to the site by a variety of ways, right? You could drive it by going on your own social media profile, which is technically free, and send them back, or you could pay it. You could do the whole ads thing, or you could just all the different variety of ways, right? But the thing about it is, this time in a business is crucial, because it saps up a lot of resources. Definitely time, of course, a lot of time, and a lot of money, right? Because you're not seeing the returns right away, and you have to be prepared to not see the returns. Now, if you start seeing the returns immediately, great, right? Great. However, the caution there is, if you start seeing it early, know what you're doing with that early result, because it could be people are just curious. Do not mistake curiosity for sustainability, right? People could just be very curious and want to try something. I have done that. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll buy it and I'll try it. Then realize, never again, right? So that's why the 3 to 6 months period is so critical, because you could either get the curiosity and get really excited, and money's coming in, and we start to say, okay, money's coming in, or we could get crickets, and we could get zero sales, and money is spending. So it's really a delicate balance. And during this time, as a business owner, this is where you have to really have your money set aside. But it's a time where a lot of money is spending. And that's the scary thing and I think for a business owner, that could be the scary thing, because you want to see the sales coming in, right? But you have to have your game plan. It's either I shouldn't say either A or B, but option one is I get crickets, and what happens if I get crickets? And option B is I get sales, and what do I do with those? And what do I do with that money? Reinvest it to net off my startup costs, or do I take it and set it aside because I want to make sure I have it for the future? So yeah, it's a very tricky time from a finance perspective, this time.
I just want to add to that. So as we're talking, financials and starting a business, it's definitely what it encourages me, as you say, when you're starting and you that high output and outlay when you're starting. But because we're doing it by the numbers, that gives us a little more what's the word? It gives us a little more impetus to say we're on the right track, because now we're not just putting out cash. We're not just putting out cash, say, to get the website designed on the ads, all these parts that we have to pay for, but we're also getting data immediately that we're adjusting for.
Right.
So that, what we're feeling is more that we're not just spending, but we're spending and responding at the same time. So in terms of, for example, with the ads, Tamara has already honed in on that ad targets a couple of times already, right? We've shifted it a couple of times.
Yeah,
So
and I
we're
can show the
constant
analytics as
learn
well.
more. Yep, sure. Go ahead.
So the it's optimizing. So we're in optimization phase, right? So I'm optimizing everything right now. So I keep optimizing things, and so I start off with analytics. That's just definitely been key. So in the strategy, we're running Google ads. I paused the Google ads, I believe. We were running Facebook ads, and we were looking at the analytics. So as it's constant, right? So it takes a lot of time. Chef is actually going through the same process. We're running Google ads, and Michele, we went through that process. We're running Google ads. So I've been watching these three different businesses. I've been in, Google ads is like, it's my new jam. But I'll show the analytics as to kind of show you what I'm seeing. So I'm going to pop over to my screen again, and so keep in mind that this is where I start making decisions, and based on everything else that I've kind of mentioned, I hear some feedback, so I'm like, all right, what do I do with that feedback, and what changes do I make? So let me go into Google Analytics. So we're still right now, I haven't changed over to the G4 analytics. I will eventually. So for this one, we're still using UA analytics. So as you can see here, what's happening is that in the last 7 days alone, you can see that we have more people coming to the site. So users coming to the site up 91%. These are the sessions. The bounce rate is 60, and the average duration is like 3 minutes. So what I have to say is that I know that we're making updates to the site. I know that we have had people make updates to the site. So that time on site could be a little misleading. I don't know that people are spending that much time on the site. So right now it's a mix of all the work that's being done on the site could show up like that. So I'm keeping that in the back of my mind, that this session duration is probably not right. This bounce rate is probably not right, but I know more people are coming. As I go here, I look to see they're coming from the US, Trinidad and Tobago, India. So I know Canada. So I'm like, this is Michael, this is the team. But I still know people are coming from mobile. And this is where it kind of starts getting, start looking at the money that we're spending, right? So this is the Google Ads performance coming in right here. And it's telling me I paid $285, and we've gotten 111 clicks. I don't know why that stuck for me a little bit. These are telling me the pages people are going to, right? They're going to the bestsellers page. They're going to the necklace page. They're going to the love page. A lot of people are landing on the home page. And this kind of gives me an idea here of people adding to cart, how many people have made it through the checkout, and then how many people have placed orders in the last 7 days. Now, an order has been placed. Thank you, Michele. And that order didn't track. So that's a flag for me that I have to go back and check, right? But this is kind of what I'm looking at right away. I jump in and I'm like, all right, cool. So I see more people coming to the site. I need to dig into, because we're paying for paid search, I need to dig in to understand a little bit more about how is that really impacting, how is the paid search impacting what I'm doing, because that's where we're spending the most money, right? So I go to check out paid search. This is the name of the campaign. And so when I start digging into this, I'm like, all right, what is really the story here? So the story here is telling me that these are the keywords that we're optimized for. So what I start looking at is, all right, the page sessions, how long are they going through from paid search? How many pages? So I see that customized necklaces, they're going to 2.69 pages. I see that the bounce rate is 46, which is pretty low. I see that they've had 13 sessions, and we're looking at this over, the last week or so. I've been running ads since, so let me just change the date. Um, 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 all right, I'm gonna try not to nerd out too much, but just kind of give some. So this tells me here two, they're going to at least 2 pages. And yeah, the bounce rate's pretty low. Personalized name necklace, though, this bounce rate is pretty high. They're going to 1.62 pages, so maybe they're looking for something different. Customized jewelry, the bounce rate is pretty high. They're still going to 1.3 pages. And so I kind of start going through process of elimination, right? So personalized name jewelry, bounce rate is 50. They're going to 5 pages. Custom name necklace, kind of high. Personalized necklace. So now I'm seeing to myself, well, if I kind of get all the ones that have the lowest bounce rate, if I kind of take those and really focus in on those keywords, I think that's where I have more opportunity, because these people are a little bit more engaged, right? And these are some of the people that I probably want to retarget. So that's kind of where my thought process is going. So the money that I'm spending on these other keywords, I don't know that there's value to it at this point, right? And then it kind of gives me an idea of what I'm paying per keyword. So I'm paying $2.44 here for each click, but this, I know probably could work a little bit better for me. This here, $2.26. So I kind of have an understanding that maybe my cost per click should be about $2.50, $2.60. Maybe I could bid a little bit lower for that, but I know it's in that $2 range. So looking at these analytics, it kind of gives me a bit of a story that I can start framing up for my Google Ads. And now I'm going to revamp my Google Ads campaign, and to kind of get to kind of get more insight into exactly what people are doing, and just pushing it a little bit further. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to come back for some questions.
But I want you to go back and share. I have a few questions from you. Let me nerd out with you. I want you to go back in and share, because we have people listening, but for those that end up going back for the replay, I want them to see what we're talking about and follow this line with us.
Okay. So
while you're doing that, I am going to begin asking you some questions, because I want to pull a few threads. Stay on that screen. So what we're looking at, Tamara was just speaking. Okay, let me turn something down because I'm echoing in my own ear. What you were speaking about were the key terms that you were using, where they went really deep into the pages, like 2 to 5 pages in, and the bounce rate was lower. And as you were going into some of these, you found some similarities in some other places, either by the price per click, or that the number of pages that were going into, there were some lessons, some themes that you were finding. Let's talk a bit more about this, because you and I have been in this space for a moment and understand that there are a couple of threads that can be pulled, because you can begin to optimize the site, the pages a bit more. You can lean into those key terms, but before we throw those other key terms out that have big bounce rates, there's a couple of things that we'll do first. Before we start saying, well, that bounce rate is too high, we'll begin to look to optimizing those words a bit more and going into some of those pages to find themes, not necessarily getting rid of them right away, but watching it a little bit longer, and then making the decision to lean in a bit more on those high performing words and pulling out some of the others. I think it's important for us to talk about that, because you have in here, I think, let me expand my screen a bit so that I can speak to it a bit more. There was one that was 5 pages deep, bounce rate of 37%. And I want to say it said name necklace.
Oh, well, this is
name necklace or personalized necklace. And even if you can't get to it just yet, my point
here it
is.
It says personalized necklace, 10 clicks, cost $22.
And then it was 37 and a half. And
Yeah.
then there was one that was pretty similar to it that was, I think it wanted to say name necklace. And one of the things that you've taught me over the course of years as we've gone through is, well, okay, let's look at those pages that were successful, and can we get similar performance by taking those other popular keywords and making sure that it's optimized well along the same lines in other places, and making sure that that click-through rate either is as high and they're going in as page deep and staying on the site as long, or understanding why is that bounce rate as high as it is and how do we pull that down. You've talked to me about this many times, and well, Michele, it could be that we just need to pay a bit more attention to where we're putting those keywords in the site to make sure it's keeping them sticky in the right places. Or we, like you told me for my site, we might need to do something to get them to like it a bit more, know, like, and trust it, and maybe build out a landing page to accommodate that. And that you've done a lot of work, so you know this really well. But for those that are novices in this space, don't run scared because you see a 60% bounce rate right away. You've got to give it some time, let it, make sure you've done your homework before you just jump out of it right away, because the click-through rate isn't the way that you want to see it right away.
Well, so I'm going to jump in here, but I'm going to, in this instance, because we're spending money, I'm actually going to lean into chopping these keywords and lean into spending, because what I recognize here, this I didn't show, is that these are the people that have added to cart. So these are the keywords that have gotten added to carts in the last, since we've been looking at this since the 19th. So I'm going to start focusing in on these keywords. I can optimize my site for these, but then am I really, really highlighting custom engraved necklaces? If we go back to the website, what we'll see is that the website is really, I'm saying that they're custom personalized necklaces, right? So what's the difference between engraved and personalized? So that person coming in here could be looking for something different. So from a paid search standpoint, this is telling me maybe possibly what I want to do is get rid of some of these keywords and hone in, spend more money and get more clicks on these keywords where I see people are adding to cart, because there's definite interest here. Now, also the people that are adding to cart, if they don't complete a purchase, there's also an email sequence that follows that through, right? So there's the full process, moving through the full process. So that's kind of what that's where I'm moving the next step to, right? That's the next step for me, is kind of now saying, hey, I'm going to revisit the Google Ads campaign and actually look at maybe, honing in and understanding, maybe creating specific campaigns or ad groups for each of these keywords and simplifying keywords. Does that make sense?
It does. Would you do me one more favor too? And this is to your sales strategy. Can you go back to, I think it was on the homepage where it showed time of day that people were searching. One of the things that we've spoken about here, not just in this room, but pick a place that we've been on. One of the things that I've mentioned in the sales strategy and knowing your target audience and understanding when you need to speak to them is understanding when they are trying to buy from you. When are they seeking to actually search for things? And that timing changes pending the target audience that you're dealing with. One of the things that Tamara is pointing out on the screen is that the Google Analytics will tell you when the users are coming in by day of week, and time of day. And that's really important for you to understand of when you're delivering messaging out there and when people are on, for you to begin to pay attention to their user activity. And along with where she showed where they're coming from, and Michael mentioned before, they have a target audience in mind. And now they're able to really understand, based upon the target audience that's chosen, when are they coming in here by day of week and by time of day that they need to pay attention, and when they need to begin delivering messages to them. It's some key data that's in here, and it's here for a reason. And those are some of the ways that you can utilize this information to understand your buying public and when they want to engage with you.
Yep.
I love this. I love this part of the conversation. So, let me unmute. on the different places. But so the thread I want to pull, of course, is the finance thread. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at all what you showed there. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so talk to me like you're coming to the CFO to explain how you spent this money or explain why money has been spent or to say why you want more money to spend behind this. And what I'm seeing is I am seeing in my mind, if you say to me things like, well, you're showing me very particular things that are giving you results. And I love that one of the things there said, which keyword drove the cart behavior. So as a CFO for me, if you tell me that you want to spend, and I'm breaking it down, I'm not going to use the jargon because I'm not the marketer. But if you say to me, this line here, this keyword gave me 5 sales, I'd like to push more money to market, to push this keyword market and spend more ad dollars behind it. Then as a finance person, that makes sense to me because you've shown me that, oh, they seem to be buying when she uses this word. So it would make sense. Then I'm also seeing with the time of day, if you have to pay, because I don't know how it works and stuff, but if it is, you say, and I also want to spend more money to push it during this time, between this time to this time on this day of the week, because this graph shows that this is, the customers, the target audience is there during this time, then that makes more sense to me, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm pulling away from me, from my CFO brain. I am pulling away those things that you said. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. If you come to me and you say those words, I'll say, okay, go ahead. If you come to me and you point it to me in that and you explain it to me like that, I could understand and I could say, okay, you could probably get more money because you're actually showing me some results and you're showing as well how very quickly you can adapt. Because what I'm also seeing is that, so you had the long list of keywords and you basically said, well, here, I've held money behind all of these things, but really it's probably going to come down to about 5 or even 3. That's really going to speak to us. So I'm already seeing where the money now starts to get to be spent a little more efficiently because we spend the time, we realize it's not working, so we're going to start dropping it. My other thing is now, and this is probably where you could translate for me, what does this mean for the actual products that are being purchased? Because you have a wide catalog. So does that information now give information to what sales and operations to say, well, you know what, from this information, these are the 3 or 4 core products that is going to drive our revenue.
Yeah. So 100% we will be able to use that information to kind of exactly what you extrapolated there to say this is the direction of where we should be moving with the business. We should focus on these keywords and then we should focus on retargeting these people because they're showing the most intention, and we understand we may need to build some more awareness and trust with them, right? And from a product standpoint, it also gives us information around product because now I get to start looking to see, well, what product pages are they going to that we're pushing them to? And now it starts to make me think, man, we need more landing pages, right? As well, too, because we might need to make those landing pages look a little bit sexier, the love collection, all that stuff, because people are going there, they're showing some intention there. From a product standpoint, one of the things I didn't add is that we don't buy product, right? Because it's customized, we're not holding any product. So hence the reason we were able to go to the site and say, yeah, let's just release all of them. And then slowly but surely, what we want to learn is what are people interested in more? And as they start buying, we can start saying, hey, these are our core customized products that people love. Let's narrow this down to 10, but it doesn't hurt us to have this variety, hence those collections. So my clear conversation with a CFO would be like, here are all these things these people have added to cart. This is what it looks like. We will streamline cost. And that's my goal is now to how can I get my cost per click down a little bit lower, right? How can so I will also come to you and say, I know right now we're looking at a $2 cost per click. My goal is to get that cost per click down to $1. And then looking at the time that people may be searching or looking, maybe leveraging that to say, all right, maybe our ad only shows up at this time, right? So that's some of the data I'm already extrapolating. The other thing too is we focused on the holiday, and so I did the same thing with Michele, Chef, and our campaign, and I had to, as a marketer, I have to really pull back and not be emotional, right? And I got emotional because I'm like, I'm gonna run it and I'm gonna make everybody money for the holidays. But the reality of the situation is that we need to be planning for Valentine's Day. We need to be planning for Mother's Day, because I'm already seeing some of those keywords come up in that Google data, right? And we need to be planning for consistent gift giving, right? Michele needs to be planning for, right? So we need to now pivot. Should we have a little bit of a gifting strategy for the holiday season? 100%. But we now need to start looking at those people who are going to start searching for Valentine's Day, because we understand from doing the Clubhouse show and things like Pinterest and whatnot, right? And just Google Trends, we understand that people start searching at least 3 months in advance for those timeframes. So that's where we can actually start winning the conversation. And then, not to be overly long-winded, one of the points that Michele made earlier on to come back to is we really want to focus on men, right? So the fact that she got all of that from the site, we created a questionnaire as what's her style. So Michael worked on a quiz already. So we're going to start pumping that quiz on social media to those men, because somewhere in the data, I also noticed that men between the ages of 35 and like 50 were coming to the site quickly. And that's Michael, right? I mean, he's, on the
35.
And he's on the tail end of it. But what I understand is that I know how, when we're talking about, and he's talking about a gift for his wife, it's like, he knows she likes purple, you know what I'm saying? And he's trying to figure everything. So if it's presented to him in a way where he gets a box, he gets a this, he gets a that. So we've talked about that strategy, but I still went focusing in on women. So I need to now, again, as I remove the emotion, I understand that we could probably focus about 60% of the strategy on men. They're better buyers. Their birthday's coming up. It's easy, that personal touch. Even all the, I've done a lot of reels and ads and stuff. And I let me see if I can pull up an ad to show you guys what that looks like. But we've really started to curate an experience that actually can work for men. So yeah, that's kind of where we're going with things right now, based on all these optimization pieces. So Andrea, I know I said a lot.
I will add to just, answer Andrea. So being the person at Monivan that has to approve the money, it did exactly all the things you said. It gave me an ad spend, a look at that ad spend, and seeing an efficiency in how we're spending money, right? So I am very comfortable knowing that this is not something that's in a newspaper and I'm hoping how many people read it on a Sunday morning. I am seeing where the traction is happening, and I can do my own extrapolations in conjunction with Tamara's data and say, all right, let's start talking, conversion rates. So as we start to see that traffic not only improve, but the quality of the traffic improve as well, I can totally extrapolate and say, see, by month 3 we'll be fine. I'm absolutely confident, barring any unforeseen change in the overall climate, say that affects anything. But from a financial position, I can totally look at these numbers and say, we're on the right track. We're doing all the right things, and therefore expect a return in about 3 months or so that is sustainable. And that's the big thing. Not just see a return in 3 months or 2 months, but see a return that once it starts to see that return, it continues to see that return. And we continue to have a marketing line that we follow.
And I totally love that. My final I guess finance point would be to take it a step further now and making sure that the products that are actually being sold are your high margin profit, your high margin products. That will close the whole circle and make it totally sustainable. So we understand people are buying these things, and you're very clear which keywords are working. But from a finance perspective, I would want to make sure and I would want to see that the high margin products are the ones that are getting sold in the higher quantities for obvious reasons, right? That's what's going to be the sustainable thing. So I
Sure.
guess that's where my CFO brain is to try to marry the two, to marry the marketing out there, but the fact that for the business to survive, I need the high margin products to sell.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So we're looking at really margins. Our markups are anywhere from 3.5 to about 4. So any product that we have in the store, we're looking at that type of margin. So we have a lot of flexibility. Some products, if we notice, again, it's sterling silver. So even the gold ones are gold plated sterling silver. So this is something that you can have for a lifetime, right? It is a really high end gift. So our markups our margins are actually pretty good. And even with our discounting, we've kind of worked those margins to make sure where are we comfortable, right? Because the minute we're in a space where we understand, if we look at potentially boxing or boxes, all the accoutrements to go with it, what are we willing to spend in order to make that happen, right? So we understand that the least amount we can make is 2 times the amount, right? So at 1 times we're still 100%, but at 2 times we're in a good place. So we have that room, but we're still trying to keep it at a 3 times the amount. So that's where we are with all the margins. So we've really tried to be as, again, prescriptive and strategic as possible with this, but now it's really about adding the branding pieces and the branding elements to it. So I'm going to show the ad really quickly, and then I'm going to come back and take some questions from Dana in the chat, who has like a really great question. And I don't know if there are any questions in the so this is one of the ads that we're running on. This was running on Instagram and Facebook. So we're really trying to have a softer, right? So when you see, so we're really trying to appeal to that, hey, is this the gift that you're giving? So we're really working it from every angle to get folks feeling more connected to the brand. The quiz is going to show up, and we're going to start running that pretty soon. So Dana's saying very insightful, and then she's saying, how long on average does it take to refine your ad campaign to get consistent results? I would say about 3 to 6 months. I'm just in optimization mode right now, and it is every time I optimize, I learn a little bit more, right? So I would say about 3 to 6 months we should be in that space. So we really should be looking at driving revenue. We should have a better understanding of our customer, our target audience by the end of January. We should know what they're thinking, how they're feeling, what they like, what they don't like, what appeals to them. We should have a really clear understanding of who it is. If we're looking at men, we should say, hey, they're buying gifts for their wives or their daughter or whoever the case may be. If we're looking at women, we're saying they're buying gifts or they're buying for themselves. And then we have to start curating those experiences to make sure, because all the things we talk about, right? What is that experience for someone who's buying for themselves? Do they want to see the perfect gift for her, or do they want to see the perfect gift for you, right? This is the thing that you get for yourself. So I have to start thinking about, what does that experience look like? And do you see yourself in the brand, right? So there's a lot of emotional marketing that comes into it when I, thinking about that customer journey so they can see themselves. And then there's the numbers. So I always kind of get stuck in the middle, but optimization takes that time. Again, same thing like this weekend, or I think it was Friday, I can't remember, the days all rolled together. I had Chef redo her entire homepage for her cocoa, because we're kind of going through the same process, right? This is what people are saying. This is how quickly they're leaving. What's happening? Them feeling connected is what's missing. They get there off of the keyword and they expect to see something. What do they expect to see? And we have to start figuring out what they expect to see, right? So even with the steps that we have on the website, how easy it is, I'm creating an icon for that because people don't read. So, but they follow instructions, right? So the 3 steps could be hard. So we're trying to translate that and get it to an icon. So it's all these little things that you have to think about, and you have to really remove yourself from the process. You really kind of have to get into that zone where you're not so far into the process and you can look at the numbers and be objective. And Dana's asking with regards to Google Ads, what is a good starter budget in general? So, if you want to start a campaign at maybe $5 a day to get some information, you can start there, right? I think we were doing $37 a day, and now I've pulled that all the way back to $10 a day. Actually, I paused them, and we're probably going to roll in as I look to get the cost per click down. I feel like I can spend less money. Now we have clients that we're running ads for that are successful, where we've been able to take the cost per click down, and do all those things for other clients. But now in this zone, I feel like I am able to effectively do that because we're starting from the bottom. Now we're here. So I say Google Ads. I love Google Ads because it gets you to the heart of your customer, right? But Google Ads is a science that you cannot take for granted. It is, you have to really be thoughtful and really know the parts, when you're putting in those keywords, because there's like broad match, exact match, phrase match. And if you put in the wrong thing, you can waste a lot of money. Google gives you these recommendations to help you waste a lot of money sometimes. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're, they're okay-ish. So I spent a lot of time re-educating myself on Google because everything has shifted so much. But Google Ads gets you to the heart of those people that are putting in those keywords to find you. They're waking up at night and they're like, I want customized, personalized jewelry, right? And you saw that from the keyword. So that kind of gets us to the heart of it. I know we're at 8:04. I know this has been a lot.
Before we go, I want to ask you to pull a thread on something that Michael mentioned and you mentioned as well. I think to top this off on what you're doing, I think it might be important just to spend a couple of minutes on that if you don't mind. Automation in what you're doing, because that is a big part of your strategy. And I know it wasn't, there's a lot of labor that goes along with it that's got a lot of love behind it for payoff. Would you guys mind just speaking on that briefly and how important it is and how you did it to make it work well for you?
Yeah, so automation, right now we're automating with Klaviyo, right? So we're using Klaviyo for email marketing. And, Jamila is certified. So I was like, girl, I got a favor. I need a favor. Girl, I need a favor. And she jumped in and helped us with that, right? So we are set up Klaviyo has allowed us to collect text messages and to collect email addresses. And so that's another indicator that I completely missed. So Klaviyo.
Text messages, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because I did sign up so that I could get all of the messaging to see. It's in Klaviyo. Oh, wow.
So we already got 2 people to give us their phone numbers. So that's a sign. I was just like, okay. And then we have collected maybe about 6 email addresses. So we've been running ads since the 19th. We've been getting this information, but then Klaviyo kind of shocked me. And I was like, oh, so people are signing up and people gave me, I got a phone number? I was just like, I'm about to call you. I wasn't going to call them. But the fact that we got phone numbers kind of really says, hey, people are open to sharing their phone numbers. And so Jamila jumped in. I did the initial setup in Klaviyo because I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. But then I had her set up the Black Friday promotion and the Black Friday text messaging. So we're just going to keep going back at it and keep refining those messages. As I was digging into Klaviyo, I dug into one of the profiles that signed up. It gave me all the information. It told me that she came in from Facebook. Right. We're already overboard. So I'll just jump in here and show you guys. Well, I can't show you her name, so I won't show you because there's data privacy, right? So I got excited for 2 seconds. But I was able to kind of see where she came from, and she came from Facebook. So she came from the Facebook ads. So that tells me that she was interested in something that she saw in the ad. She came and she gave her email address. So she was interested in signing up and learning more about us. So So now we have an auto sequence that flows to her that will lead her to that point. So that's kind of, that's the data that we're getting. I've connected. So I've done all the integrations. So Shopify is connected to Klaviyo, Facebook is connected, everything's connected, and we have the Facebook shop that we've set up. So, I mean, I think we could talk about this on Wednesday, but there are so many moving parts to it. And it's really being able to understand, all right, where am I going to start moving the needle, and when is it going to start happening, but really keeping the flow running. So it's the perfect exercise in crazy. But I think we know we'll start seeing some of the benefits, relatively soon. And I think it's a good investment, and it's a good place for us to have this testing site that we can utilize different strategies for, as well as grow revenue. So this is going to be something that we kind of talk about here on a consistent basis.
And automation was one of the reasons for choosing this type of business as well, right? So going back to e-commerce, making a store that is, for the most part, self-sustainable once you've gotten it to that point. So that was a criteria for choosing this business as well.
So
I love that it's passive. I love that it's a passive income.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So we're excited. It's a little bit, I think it's exactly where we need to be as we push the envelope. We want to show businesses that this is your business in digital, right? This is exactly what we're talking about all the time, right? How do you make it work? What are some of the highs, the lows, the pieces you have to go through, and how do you develop a really cohesive strategy that makes sense? And, understanding all the moving parts. There's a lot, and there's a lot of, you have to sometimes bring in other people to really see that picture and to help you kind of hone in on it, but I will spend the next, month or so on my laptop. My laptop again failed me this morning because it was just like, girl, we need a break. But I've literally been on my couch, like crunching numbers, watching videos, doing Google tests, you know what I mean? Like I took a Google exam yesterday just to see how much I knew. It was like all Google related, and it was like I got a 62%. I failed. I was like, okay, cool. So I know enough to be dangerous. So I'm about to go get, Google Ads certified, because it's so important. And this is a way I'm a firm believer in it. So I think it's a way to really drive revenue. We know that it can be done. We've done it for clients before. So I'm just getting certified because, again, things are so new, but this is where people are saying, I want this, and they type it into the chat, right? And this is where you get to build the SEO after to kind of come along with that, right? So lots of interesting parts.
I'll save my questions because this one's so interesting, and I've been chomping at the bit to have you and Michael on the hot seat for Andrea and I to question you guys, and it has been, it's exciting. You've been talking about high knickknacks for a minute, and to see it launched and the work behind it, much respect, my dear friends, because this is no joke in putting this out, but the detail and the layers that are in here, and you're successfully selling it. I did what you asked. I went in and tried to break it, and I couldn't break it. So that is, the sales strategy was sound. The nurture sequence is great. There, I know that, we always look to improve, but, when I went in, I got it right away. So much so that I got lost in it and forgot that I was in it looking at it from a sales and pricing perspective to give you feedback to a shopper. And that was perfect. I thought that was a perfect place for me to be. And I was like, I can't wait to tell her about this. Yeah.
Oh, and Dana saying, excellent conversation. And thank you, Dana, for all your questions. We love when you're here. And I have to say, happy birthday, Michele Gordon in Barcelona.
Thank you. Yes, I am here. I'm broadcasting from Barcelona. I literally landed a couple of hours ago and said I wanted to make sure I was here because this was important for us to have, to showcase what you're doing from a Monivan personal perspective business. And it happens to be on my birthday and anniversary, so happy to be here for that as well. So
right, happy birthday, happy birthday, anniversary.
It's a birth anniversary. Yes, it is. So, but thank you.
You're welcome. So, guys, this has been us kind of talking about, we are quite over, but this has been us talking about, a project that we're working on called High Knickknacks. It is an e-commerce store. And, at Monivan Digital, we're looking at this as two things, right? Definitely an opportunity to leverage our skills and expertise and drive an additional revenue stream, but also to have something that we could really use as a case study, as a foundation, something that's product based. We have some service businesses. We're all service-based businesses, so we talk about that quite a bit. But this is something that we can work, case study, try things, test things, break it, bend it, slap it up, flip it up, rub it down, whatever you want to do, and get that to a point where we're driving revenue. So we want to show you what this looks like. We're not just having these conversations of, pontificating about digital marketing. We're kind of showing you what it looks like. So we hope you enjoyed this conversation. So I'm going to pass it over to the team to introduce themselves, tell people who they are so we can get out of here. It's been a long show, man.
Oh my God, yes, it's been quite a show. All right, everybody, I am Andrea, your virtual CFO. I am the voice of your money, and I help you take your business from a liability to an asset. I'm so happy I did this show today, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
And I am Michele Gordon with Lanyap, here to help you with your sales and pricing needs in your business and digital space. This has been an exciting, I think, 3 or 4 shows that we've had where we're showcasing us. And I'm enjoying this because they get to see us in action and know that we're in the thick of it too, and be and feel and hear what they're saying and feeling at all times. So excited to be here with this awesome foursome here. Off to you, Michael.
And I'm Michael Wiltshire. Thanks for joining us this morning. Great discussion. It was great being in the hot seat. Didn't feel too hot. We know what we're doing. Hope you're also getting from this what you can expect from your digital marketing. If you're reaching out to a digital marketer, I hope you're hearing all the things that you should be hearing back that allow you to make the right decisions, allow you to take emotions out of the game, and make decisions that matter to your business and matter to making your business grow. Thanks for joining us this morning, and happy birthday and happy anniversary again, Michele.
Guys, we were in the hot seat today, but this is what we're doing here at Your Business in Digital, right? We're really helping you to translate what your business looks like in digital, how it feels in digital. How do you move to money in the bank, leveraging digital? How do you go beyond those likes and follows? And what we've pulled together is the ideal team, right? Someone from finance, someone from sales and pricing, operations, and of course the marketing. So you can really see that holistic strategy. So we're broadcasting to you from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, as well as Clubhouse. So join us here every Monday and Wednesday as we go deeper into the conversation about your business in digital and helping you to translate that to, again, money in the bank. I am Tamara, always excited to be here. Have an amazing, amazing Monday, guys. Take care. Bye.